Rob Fox joins us now. He is the director of CoBank's Knowledge Exchange Division and a guest at OSU's Rural Economic Outlook Conference. Rob, you covered a lot of topics in your presentation today. What are some of the things that maybe farmers and ranchers in Oklahoma can take away from the things that you study and look at every day?
Well, I think generally things are optimistic, and commodity prices across the board are doing pretty well, particularly on grains and especially cotton. Cattle prices could be a little bit better, but they're not terrible. I see a couple of key risks, and that is on the crop input side, getting things locked in early, or at least having a plan, because there's going to be shortages of chemicals, fertilizer availability due to plant shutdowns and logistical problems and so on. Fertilizer pricing is going to be higher this year, there's no doubt about that, so I would at least get some of that locked in and at least have a plan moving forward. But generally things are looking pretty good.
In terms of farm profit projections, what are you seeing there?
Well, 2021 is and will be quite a good year with high commodity prices, and the full brunt of the cost increases won't be reflected fully in 2021. Where we're going to see those costs show up will be on next year's crops and animals.
You mentioned fertilizer costs. What else should we keep an eye on?
Well, of course, there's a couple things that come to mind. Supply chain, and that affects everything, including tractor repair parts. It includes pesticides, herbicides, whatever, blades for equipment, forage choppers, you name it. There's going to be delays, and it could cause, as a former dairy farmer myself, if a piece of equipment goes out, you're in big trouble. So I would keep maybe spare parts on hand and make sure your equipment is in good operating condition. And another thing that's out of the farmer's control, but we need to keep an eye on the international trade forefront and what happens with China in particular and their phase one deal that actually expires at the end of this year. So agriculture has actually fared fairly well through the phase one agreement. Unfortunately, other segments have not had that same success. So what will happen with those negotiations? Will we throw out the baby with the bathwater to try to get something better?
The ag economy overall, as we wind down 2021 and head into another year, I think all of us hope things just kind of level out and, dare we say, become boring. Is that even possible? But what are you seeing as we round out the year and head into the new year?
Well, things are never boring in farming. I'll tell you that much. But I think it's, like I said before, it should be a pretty good year in 2022. I'm optimistic about U.S. protein, meaning livestock production. The world as a whole is demanding more and more meat. Red meat, chicken, you name it, and the United States is the most efficient producer of that out there. So as long as we can play on a level playing field, I'm optimistic about we're going to have markets for our commodities. So I'm fairly optimistic.
Well, Rob, we appreciate your time today and appearing on Sunup, and we wish you
anytime.
safe travels back to Chicago.
Thanks so much, Lyndall.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.